The more you are at peace with you, your whole life is more peaceful. Without going into the rabbit hole, we have all these political divides, religious divides, everything around the world, life, business, money. We've spent too much time fighting in conflict and not getting along to the point to where that's the normal.
Welcome to the Invisible Marketer Podcast. I'm your host, Kowina. In this episode, I sat down with Scott Lucas. He is a fellow introvert and has done something that very few people do. And we're going to talk about it. We're also going to be talking about the power of consistency and the importance of being authentic in the age of AI. If you would like the show notes, head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/listen. Let's dive on in. I have known you since last year, but since January, you have been on this journey of sharing almost every single day on your social media about your life. Just some of the most amazing words of advice that I have heard. I try to catch it every day. It's so much value. It's been great following you along that. Tell me a little bit about what's kept you consistent throughout that.
I guess the big thing consistently was just for my health. At first, it started last year with me just posting daily because I started a fitness program that was invested in me by my previous business partner, but it evolved from health and fitness to motivation and business mindset. I don't remember who it was, so I won't say the name. I could be wrong, but he said, if you make a video every single day for a full year, you're going to either have like enough content to reproduce or you're just going to get yourself out there. He's just said, do a live a day. And at the end of the year, your life will change. So
Yeah.
like, well, why not? Then you and I, we came across Doug's program. I was like, let's fit in that thing to where accountability and stuff. Let's just do it. I'm on day 170.
I have posted on social media almost every day, but you took it a step further. You went live every single day. That's just amazing that you've been able to keep up with that. Russell Brunson has said that over and over, that if you go live every day for a year, that your life will drastically change. One of my mentors, his name is John Lee, he went live every day on Clubhouse for a whole year. And he went from having hardly any followers on Instagram. Instagram's one of the hardest ones to crack, honestly, especially for me anyways. He went from having hardly zero to millions of followers.
That's cool.
On Instagram. He has created a membership where he has around 20,000 people paying him $7 a month. That's like over $1 million a year. That was just from going live every single day and almost saying the same exact thing at least 4 times a week. When he went on there, he would have 3 talks that he did all week, but he would do them back to back every day. You want to watch how people do things too. When you're watching on social media, I watched his growth and I was like, wow, I'm over here watching you and I'm watching your growth and I'm watching what you're doing. I think it's just great that you do that.
I appreciate that. Every so often I'll get remarks that say, hey, keep going. I say, I appreciate it. It's like a double-edged sword. You're doing it for yourself, to put yourself out there, hold your own self accountable. A lot of the things I put on Facebook is for my own refresher. Hey, keep this as a mental Rolodex type of thing. I'm like, maybe if it might help me, might help other people. If I'm motivated at 45 years old to maintain my health, I might motivate another 45-year-old or someone younger or older. It's just about just putting myself or ourselves out there, because if we don't, then people won't know about us, know what we do or things of that nature.
I truly feel even if they don't say anything and they don't like your posts, there are people watching you.
Yeah, I know. I don't do it for the metrics of the likes and comments. I do it for those every once in the blue moon remarks or comments like what you made. Hey, you motivated me, or hey, you've done this. We're here to touch people's lives. We're here to coexist, and it's better to coexist in a peaceful and collaborative effort than it is in conflict.
We never know who's watching and who we're inspiring. It's just amazing what you're doing. I want you to keep going. If I catch you like not doing it for a day or two, I'll notice. Make sure you keep consistent, or I want to reach out and say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay?
I even have it on my calendar to do a live. It varies because I work from home. I may not be able to do a live during the time I'm doing things. It's late at night most times, but I need to try to do it earlier. That way it goes the full 24 hours until the next one.
It's working. So keep consistent at it. I always ask this to everybody that comes on the show because my show is about introverts. But would you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
I'm more introverted, but I've been in sales. I think what they have with ambivert, but I guess I'm a mix of the two. But deep down at my core, I'm more of an introvert. I like people. I just prefer to be in my own small space at home, not like in a shell or like like a nomad, so to speak, more of a family guy. I don't do the partying, the club, the drinking. I don't do all that type of stuff. Spend a lot of my time with family, very little hobbies. Been working out. I play video games every once in a while.
For you to go live every single day, how has being an introvert made any impact on what you do on social media?
I still have those introverted tendencies. I don't want to talk to that person. I don't want to promote. I don't want to put myself out there sometimes with my lives. I try to be present and focused on like the camera or like this, what we're doing, like a domino effect into other areas to where I'm more focused, more intentional, and helps to kind of not just get myself out there more, because I've been doing this a little over 8 years. The consistency really helps and just getting it done.
I don't know if you realize or even know, but before I started my podcast, I was getting to where it was just overwhelming. I never knew what to say. For me, it's hard to really talk about myself. I don't know why I can't just push the record button and go live. You have a really great idea of what you're trying to accomplish during your lives. You're talking about yourself and the things you've learned, and you're sharing experiences and stuff. It's not easy for us sometimes to do that.
Sometimes I'll get remarks from family. I can't believe you share this or that. I try not to share private stuff. I don't do all that, but there's some times where it's just sharing maybe a conversation or how it relates to business or other people's content. I think it's been done a long time, for as long as we can think of. It's called piggybacking. The news outlets, they do all that. You'll flip on channel 3, you hear one story, you hear the same story if you go on channel 7 or 11 or something else. It's basically the same thing that I'm doing, but just using my own personality in my own way. Like you said, you show up in podcasts, I show up in lives and groups, different methods and stuff like school or Facebook. I try to do what I can when I can.
Are there any challenges that you faced that really stands out to you, that really shaped or you learned a big lesson from?
Just communication. With me being an introvert, even though I do tech support, I have to be supportive of people with whatever. The lives even help getting my thoughts into one thing and communicating effectively. It just helps with different areas as far as one thing to improve on or get better on.
Communication for me is hard. Not knowing what you're going to say, just not having that clarity of what you're going to say or how to articulate it because of all the self-doubts and the fears and the overwhelm.
Communication, it might seem real easy. It's easy for us to talk right now. Something I've had to work on because I have a very low voice. And sometimes if I increase the volume, sounds like I'm yelling. If I go too fast, the communication with me on top of all that and being an introvert, I just had to learn to use my words. I don't speak as much. I don't like saying words just to say them. I just want to make sure that when I do speak, people are either listening or it makes sense.
It's awesome when you can speak less and have just as much impact. I feel like however you can show up and it's comfortable for you and you're going to stay consistent, then that's what you need to do. Don't worry about what other people say. Just follow your own path. Figure out what works for you, especially being an introvert, and just do it.
Exactly. Something with me is I don't like the filters and edits. I can do it. We're on Zoom right now. You see my background. You see when I do lives, it's raw and unfiltered. At 45 years old, I've just learned that the relationship is more important than the fancy backgrounds or edits and stuff. That does help for optimization and all that stuff. I'm just as real as I can be offline as I am online and vice versa. A lot of people are fake or they say or do things differently online than they do offline. There's no reason to. I'm the same person. If we were to meet, I'd be saying the same things, or acting the same way.
Yeah, I think that goes a long way. I feel like we do need to show up as our authentic self and ourselves, especially with this world of AI, where they can clone anybody. If you're showing up over there and you're in a parking lot, there's no way they're going to be able to clone you. I tried to see what my voice would sound like if AI cloned it, and there's no hope for it. I'm too Southern and I have this accent. It doesn't work, but I wouldn't even do that anyways. I just wanted to see what capabilities they had because I want to know what I'm looking at. If Russell Brunson and all those people decide to clone themselves,
oh no.
I wonder if we'll be able to tell. That's my thing. Will we be able to even know the way that AI is coming along and advancing?
We'll have to use code words to make sure this is a code word that I'm the real Scott, you're the real deal versus somebody else using AI. They could already do that already. They could do AI to manipulate our voices, our pictures, our face. We're going to be robots eventually.
I think that if you do go live, I would think that in that case, that you wouldn't be able to clone yourself. Right. I don't know. It's a little scary though. I think it's going to change the game. It's hard enough already that people don't trust what they see or hear online. It will be even harder when I start cloning people.
Talking about AI, I get alerts from like FTC and different outlets of that nature. There was one recent about a company was having hidden fees or keeping subscriptions on active and other things. People are already abusing what we have already. When we have AI, it's just going to double, just like you said. We just have to be more vigilant and aware, not too quick to press that buy button, because a lot of phishing attempts, phishing attacks, cyber attacks. So it's just got to be more diligent and aware to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
If you're an introvert, you're afraid to put yourself out there on video, or you're overwhelmed with the constant pressure of social media, then hang around, because I want to share something that I have put together. Podcasting has truly changed my life and has allowed me to be able to love what I'm doing and to share my voice in a way that plays to my strengths of being an introvert. So I put together the Podcast Launchpad. It is your go-to resource for everything you need to launch a successful podcast. To get you started, I created a podcast toolkit. This toolkit includes a step-by-step guide, a workbook, and the frameworks that I use to launch my very own podcast to an audience that was excited for the launch. I want to give this to you completely for free just for joining the community. Head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/toolkit to grab your very own podcast toolkit. Again, that's invisiblemarketer.com/toolkit. I look forward to seeing you in the community. What do you help your clients with?
Anything from tech support to funnels. I had closed down my tech services at the beginning of this year just to focus more on like retainer clients and things of that nature in my new program, but I'm going to reopen it back up. But basically, any type of technical services. When I first got started, I was like a webmaster. Back years ago, the famous phrase, jack of all trades, master of none type of thing, right? I learned how to master a lot of different of those jack of all trades to where I was a master of the trades. Being a webmaster, I was able to do a lot of different things from video to website management, hosting, support, anything technological based that I put my hands on, I could pretty much get it done. It's always been hard for me to narrow down that niche to the point to where who it is and what it is I offer, because I don't want to sound, well, I could do anything and everything because I can't, but anything technology based, because I've been in IT now for about 12, 13 years. I just know a lot of different things about computers, microphones, whatever it might be, from hardware to software. As far as clients, more of like a consulting/service provider.
That's awesome. I know I've had a lot of tech challenges. That's my own fault. It's the simple ones that get me. I love the complicated tech. It's the simple ones, like forgetting to record on Zoom or forgetting to turn the mute button off, or when you're going live.
Something like that would probably just need a checklist or something written down or post-it note. There's a lot of ways to be efficient, but whatever works for you to actually do what it is that you need to do to be efficient, whether it's a post-it note, writing on your hand or whatever, you just got to do what you got to do.
It's post-it notes for me. I started doing that after I went through an interview with someone and I did not even press record. I didn't notice it till weeks later when I was trying to edit the episode and I didn't have an episode coming up. It's 2 days before my due date for my podcast. Great. Now I have to go back and ask her if she'll do this again. I've learned my lesson. This has happened to me twice. Post-it note it is. You learn and you grow and you get better. How do you manage your business, your work, everything that you do? The overwhelming of having so much on our plates can be awful sometimes.
It's taken me a while, just because not only with introvertism, but I have ADHD and slight OCD here and there. I got to make sure things are in a certain way a little bit. Once I get over that hump of making sure things are there, I have to break things down. As far as keeping to my schedule, Google Calendar, number one. A lot of times, if I have ideas or content, even though throughout my day, I have it on my calendar, but also have the reminders. They'll send me an email like 3 to 4 hours beforehand, and I'll make sure, okay, this is what I need to do today, or things of that nature. As far as keeping to a schedule, it's hit or miss sometimes, just because throughout the day, I'm working my career as the tech support. So I got to fit it in with work. A lot of times it's a mix for me of, okay, I have it written down, and then I just thought about this. I just need to get it going. It's getting that nudge to say, okay, get this done real quick. And then I can cross it off the calendar. And depending on how my day goes or how many hours I'm working, I have a couple Chrome windows open. I don't have a lot of tabs open because the tabs can get overwhelming and stuff. And I don't believe in having 55 tabs open on different windows, because that's just going to get you overwhelmed. But as far as the schedule, it's just a calendar and just making a mental note, because sometimes the day can get ahead of me. There has been times where I've almost missed lives where it was like at 11:30, almost it was right before midnight, and I got it done because either me not paying attention, squirrels, ADHD a little bit, or doing something else, and it's just You just got to be diligent. You just got
Yeah.
to, and I guess the big reason is knowing why. I'm doing this not just for myself, but for my health, for my family, for my son. I know a lot of schedule wise, I keep it a certain way just because I know, for example, it's summer and my wife, she's a school teacher. So she has a summer off just like my son does. I still need to follow a schedule, but still leave time open to do the things that I wouldn't be able to do if they were at school. Just being really diligent. It's tough sometimes. It's a challenge, but as long as I have it written down somewhere, I know I'll get it done. I
Yeah.
think that's
I
my
love
secret.
that.
If I don't have it written down, I'm going to forget it. I have to write things down. It's like when I get surges of content ideas coming. If I got so much going on, I can't type it. I'll get out my phone and there's the voice memo. I'll do a voice memo. Or even with the transcribe, I'll just open Gmail and I'll say whatever I need to say as a post or a thought or an idea, and I'll send it to myself. And that's me writing it down as a reminder. Then I take that email, turn it into an event to where, oh, hey, now I got the email. It's categorized, labeled correctly. Now I've got it as a calendar. It will obviously stay there until I get it done. It's a mix of different thing. I can't really say there's one strategy just because I have the luxury like most people don't. That I work from home. I've been working from home since pre-COVID. I've just had to learn not to let my distractions lead my day. I don't have post-it notes, but I have little short pieces of paper now that like just reminders.
I agree with that. I don't know what I would do without having a calendar. And really, until I met Doug, I didn't have a calendar. Just flew by the seat of my pants and just
Right.
didn't really do nothing.
Right, exactly.
Like with Go High Level, I'm trying here. Like last week, the way it looked in the calendar was that it was all scheduled for the same day. I
Oh,
have
wow.
4 interviews in one day, and I'm like, oh no, how am I going to do this? And then when you said, oh, it's next week, I'm like a little bit of a sigh of relief because if you're an introvert and you try to do 4 interviews in one day, by the end of
Right.
it, you're just like, I'm drained. It worked out good, but tech is working against me a little bit in that. Have you ever tried a ChatGPT?
I use it every once in a while. I'll create like a content idea or talk, and then I'll say, send to ChatGPT, and it gives me its output.
Whenever you do your voice memos, if you save it to ChatGPT and just put a prompt in there that says, when I give you this voice memo, I want you to just save it in there for now. You can build them up like over a week or whatever. And then at the end of the week, go in there and say, give me the top 3 ideas that I had for this week. It might be an idea for you to do because it'll save them all. Just let them know you don't want them to do anything with it, but just save your information in there. And then at the end of the week, you can do a live. These are the top ideas that I had during this week.
Good idea. Yeah, I haven't used ChatGPT in a while. It just comes to my mind. That's another thing. Well, I know AI is out there and I like it and people are using it, but we got to be careful because AI can sometimes scrape or gather information that shouldn't be scraped or gathered, but it just happens to be online. So it's pulling copyrighted material. It could potentially scrape material that had to been paid for, or it was an intellectual property that's really not supposed to be scraped, or it varies. There's always a gotcha.
You have to be very careful. It helps me get my creative juices flowing. It helps me start brainstorming because if I can just ever get started thinking about an idea, then I've taken all these courses over 20 years and all this information just starts flowing back. I remembered when I did this and I can relate a story to whatever topic it was telling me. It's more so not that I copy it word for word, but just getting me started brainstorming. I don't know why I just can't come up with that idea just like that on my own. And it may not even be what it gives me, but it just jars something in my head. Like, I can do that better. This is what I can come up with.
It's supposed to aid with your content. I've had content created by AI, but I go back with me. I'm going to say I'm a grammar Nazi or nothing like that. I know the formatting and different words it likes to use. And I'm going to replace that word with something I'll actually say and things of that nature. With all of my videos, none of it was content I got from AI. None of it was I generated. It was just all up in here. And I use AI literally just for research purposes. I've never used it for content creation. But if I have used it for content creation, usually it's like copy. And then I'll go back and copy and re-edit it to my voice as is, to where I generate a video or a prompt and then you start saying it, because you didn't go back and quality check the AI and the wording and grammar. So it's like, oh, no wonder why it sounds like you're a robot.
For sure. Written part is where I get more ideas and I do the videos. The videos are usually just me real raw and trying to figure out what to say because it usually takes me like 4 hours to do those videos. So I gave up after a while of doing that. Every once in a while, something will come to me that I want to share. If it's so profound that I want my audience to know this, and I feel like it made a huge difference in my life, then I'll record a video. But other than that, I probably won't be recording too many videos by myself. That's why I have podcast interviews and we can talk about important things and I can create content from that. So
that's good. It's whatever works for you is how it works.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned about business is we try to work us around the business instead of having the business work around to us. We need to make our money work for us instead of us working for the money. It's the same thing with finding a business or method. You use podcasts because that's what helps you. I use lives or whatever else. Doug uses events or somebody else uses something and it works for them. And
can people go to find you if they wanted to follow you and watch your lives every day?
If they wanted to find me, they could go to facebook.com/Scott B. Lucas. I do have my website, scottlucassolutions.com. If they go there, it'll be a button to connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, if they want to book a call with me, if they want to see some of the software I'm using.
Do you have any final words or thoughts that you would want to share?
Let's just say, for example, this is going to go on every single news outlet or something. If I had one thing to share with people is the more you are at peace with you, your whole life is more peaceful. Without going into the rabbit hole, we have all these political divides, religious divides, everything around the world, life, business, money. We've spent too much time fighting in conflict and not getting along to the point to where that's the normal. I don't think it's normal anymore for people just to be at peace and just focus on you. We focus too much on what other people are doing. And I think that sends people a sense of overwhelm. Specifically in business, we're listening to Scott, we're listening to Doug, we're listening to whoever it is. When we find more peace, we don't need all these different people. You're at peace, you're centered with yourself, and you can know why you're doing something, and then you know why you need to be at peace and why you want to be at peace. And I'm not saying world peace, I'm just saying peace within yourself. And then from there, everything else will come into your life the way it needs to be, whether it's a business mentor, partnership, new relationship, a new hobby, whatever it is. I think that's just the last thing I want to say is I found a lot of peace in the last year, just focusing more on me. That way I can focus on other people. I found if I wasn't at peace with me, if I was full of anxiety and conflict, it was just all over the place. You know how you get overwhelmed sometimes? It's because you've got so much stress, things of that nature. When you find the peace, you're less stressed, more relaxed, and then you know what you need to do next in your business or in your life.
Thank you for listening to the Invisible Marketer Podcast. If you would like to access today's show notes, head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/listen. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on even more strategies that are tailored to using your superpower of being an introvert to go out and make an impact. I will see you next time.